Schindler, and today I'll be interviewing Rose Schindler, my grandmother, who is a Holocaust survivor. So, tell me about where you grew up.
I grew up in Czechoslovakia. I was born in Serenie, 1929. I come from a family of 8 children. My family was very Orthodox. We lived in a very nice Jewish community. All the families had a lot of children because, you know, the Jewish people are very religious, so they don't use contraceptives, so they all had a lot of kids, and we had a beautiful life before the war, till 1938, okay? And we lived in a house, 3 rooms, no indoor plumbing, no electricity. We had beds in every room. Have to put 10 people to sleep, so anyway, we had really a nice life under the Czech Republic. In 1938, the Hungarians came in and everything changed. My father was a tailor. He had a shop on the main street. He had several men working for him. And when the Hungarians came in, they took all the Jewish businesses away and gave them to the Hungarian people. And we lived a really nice life till the war started. So.
And before the war started, did you know much about Hitler or the Nazis?
You know, I was 14 years old. What do I know about Hitler? And I wasn't even interested. I didn't know what was going on. We knew that there was a problem because we couldn't go to public school. Okay, all the Jewish kids were not allowed to go to public school. So my education, I don't think I had 4 years of elementary education my whole life. All the Jews we were restricted in our hometown. We could not leave. After 1938, 39, we could not leave our town. We had curfews, okay? Later on we had to wear Jewish stars. Not in the beginning. I don't remember really when, but, and the non-Jewish kids started showing anti-Semitism towards the Jewish kids. They would occasionally call us dirty Jew, and they would throw rocks at us. And I remember as kids, we saw some kids that we knew they were mean to us. We would run across the street to get away from them. So, but as I said, till 1938 was beautiful.
And you lived there your entire childhood?
Yes, we lived there till we were taken away. And in 1944, we were taken away to Auschwitz.
And did you bring any personal belongings with you?
We were allowed to bring a very small amount. They told us we could take what we could carry. Okay, maybe 1 bag per person. And we brought, I remember my mother saying, put on a couple of dresses and a couple of underwears because we don't know when we're going to have a chance to wash laundry. So, anyway, so we were in Uzhhorod, in this holding place. They call it like a ghetto. They brought all the Jewish people from all the surrounding areas and put them there. And daily they shipped out train loads every day to Auschwitz. And our turn came and we went on the train, in the cattle cars, and we arrived to Auschwitz, and the door opened to the train, and a man came and up in the train in a striped uniform, and he came over to me and he asked me how old I was. And I told him I was 14, and he said, tell him you're 18. And I didn't know why he said that, but anyway, when we got out of the train and we walked towards the selection area, it came to our turn. My father and brother went to this line. My mother and 4 sisters and brothers went in another line. And my 2 sisters and my 2 sisters were in front of me, and they went and they were selected to go to this line, and I think it was Mengele who was doing the selections. He said to me, how old are you? I said, I'm 18. My sister Helen said, no, she's only 14. No, I said, I'm 18, so he let me go with my 2 sisters. Otherwise, I would have gone to the gas chambers with my mother and 4 sisters and brothers.
And that's where they went?
That's where they went, and that's the last I saw of them.
So what happened next for you?
They took all our own clothes away. They took all our belongings away. When we got there, they shaved our hair everywhere. As we were standing in line, waiting to go for our next orders, they were, they were SS soldiers staying there watching us, the dogs, and there was a big fire behind this building where they shaved our hair, and you could hear children crying, you could hear children calling their mothers, and we didn't know what, and my sister Judy asked the German policeman, what is that noise, and what's that noise in the fire, and he said they were burning hair. So Judy said, well, hair doesn't burn, so then he said they were burning cripples. Okay. So later on we found out that they didn't even give enough gas to the people. They were half alive. They pushed them out through the building, through some door, and they burned some of the people half alive. There were 30,000 women in this camp. We were 1,000 women in each barrack. We had bunk beds, 3 bunk beds, like 7 or 8 people in each bunk. The bed the next morning, we woke up, and I went outside, and somebody walking. I wanted to know what was going on, where I was. I didn't know where we were, and a man was calling out my name, and I looked, and I didn't know who it was, and he says, called me Royce. He says, I'm your father. Don't you recognize me? That was my father. He was temporarily, my father and my brother was in Auschwitz-Birkenau temporarily before they sent him out on a work detail to some factory. He had a striped uniform on and shaved his, because my father had a beard and he always wore a hat, so I didn't recognize him the way he was dressed. So we met, and he said, the first thing he said to me, he said, where is your mother? And I said, I don't know. At that time I really didn't know where my mother was, but I told him Yutka and Helen was with me, and we talked for a while, and then we met. He said, let's meet again tomorrow. Then he said, stay together because you have a much better chance of surviving if you're together, and also stay alive so you would tell the world what they're doing to us here. And we talked for a while, and then we said goodbye, and then we made up to meet the next morning, but we went the next morning, and my father and my brother didn't show. Never saw my father and brother again. So we were in Auschwitz, Birkenau, for the next 3-4 months. They had selections all the time to go to factories to work, and they would never select me to go to work because I was skinny and I was sick. I had diarrhea for weeks when we got there, and they would, as I said, they had selections all the time to go to these factories, and they would select me to go to the gas chambers, and I always would run out of the line. There were 30,000 women in this camp alone, and there were people wandering around, walking around like zombies. They didn't know they're coming or going. In Auschwitz we have 12-foot high electric wires. People died daily because they gave up. They didn't want to live. They just put their hands on the electric wires and they were dead. 20 seconds and you were gone. So if you were selected to go to some place that you didn't want to go, you could run out of you could like disappear, and maybe nobody would notice you. If they would notice you, they would kill you. So we did this for 4 months. Every time I was selected to go to the gas chambers, I would run out. They need 300 women for this factory in this Dayton. That's how I got out of Birkenau into a working factory. But in Bruntal, we really were treated like human beings. We worked. We were given decent food. I mean, we could have used more, but we had a lot better than in Auschwitz. We had terrible food in Auschwitz. So we were there till May 8th. May 8th, we were liberated by the Russians. When we got home, our neighbors were not very nice to us. We went to some of our neighbors and said we would like to have our house was bombed. Our house, we couldn't use it. The roof was gone. But we stayed in somebody else's house, which was okay, because a lot of Jewish families did not come home from the war. But of course, a lot of the Jewish homes were being occupied by the non-Jewish people. And we went into to our next door neighbors, a couple of them, and we wanted our furnishings, and they said, you cannot have your furniture back. If you want to live, you better leave. And this happened to all the Jewish people, you know, the few people that came back. I think of 2,000 or so Jewish people that lived in Serenya, maybe 24 people came home, or maybe 30 people, that's all. In the 3 weeks I was there, I didn't see even that many. After being in Serenya for, as I said, a little 3-4 weeks, we decided to leave because the neighbors didn't want us. There was no future for us there. Our parents were not coming home. The reason we went home, because we wanted to know who would come home.
And right now you're with your two sisters?
We are together with my 2 sisters all along, yes, we didn't separate. So anyway, so after we were Serenya, we went to Prague. And in Prague, we found out that they're looking for Holocaust survivor orphans to take to England, Scotland, and Wales to rehabilitate.